Udah banyak kok.
Okay. Everyone can hear my voice?
Yes, clear.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the ninth webinar series hosted by the Indonesia Marine Biogeochemistry Forum or IMBF in collaboration with Integrated Marine Biosphere Research. And first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Dayu Tias from Institut Teknologi Bandung, especially come from the research group of Applied and Environmental Oceanography. And today I will be your moderator for this exciting session. We are all happy to have you with us today. I hope all of you are in here in a happy condition and also in a good condition. Whether you are a student, researcher, or maybe policymaker, or just curious about the ocean and climate, today's talk are sure to offer the fresh excitement. Okay, we'll be dividing this session into two important topics. The first topics is the climate change and the ocean biological pump, which will be delivered by Dr. Wei Yang from Jimei University in China. He already come here today, I think.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm here.
Thank you, Dr. Yang. And then the second one, the topic is about methane in the marine environment, the source and the things that will be delivered by Dr. Yaya from BRIN. Okay. But before we get to the presentation, we'd like to start with some opening remarks from someone who's been a strong force behind this forum. Please welcome Professor Dr. Aan Johari Wahyudi, the chairman of IMBF and the senior researcher at the Research Center for Oceanography, Indonesia's National Research and Innovation Agency. Prof. Aan, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much, Dayu. So I hope you can hear my voice, right?
Yes.
All right. So today is very special, and in my home office there is a good weather today. So maybe some of you already aware that the Earth receive more energy from the sun in about 1 hour than all of humanity use in the entire year. So it's mean that every car engine, every light bulb, every factory, every smartphone, every data center, and all of it is actually powered in theory by just an hour of the sunlight. So yet, actually, we barely scratch the surface of that energy, but our planet, our nature doesn't waste it, actually. And 4 billion of years, plant and plankton have mastered the art of using sunlight through the photosynthesis, and they capture solar energy and pull carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, turning into we call it the organic carbon, which is the stuff of life. And of course, we already know that in the ocean, phytoplankton, which is tiny and floating, absorbs carbon dioxide and sunlight, forming the base of the marine food web. On land and in coastal area also, we have mangrove, seagrass, and also salt marsh that are so-called blue carbon ecosystem, doing the same, creating green carbon sinks. And then actually carbon doesn't stay put. So we know that in the sea, when plankton die or are eaten, their carbon-rich remains sink, drifting slowly into the deep ocean. And some of these materials settle into the seabed, locking away carbon for centuries or more. This process is known as the biological carbon pump, one of the Earth's most powerful natural tools for carbon sequestration that we will talk or discuss today. So meanwhile, in coastal sediment, thick with roots and peat, where carbon is buried in oxygen-poor mud, left undisturbed. It can stay there for millennia. But there is a catch. Nature is also full of microbial recycle. When organic carbon decays, for example, in oxygen-rich environment, microbes break it down and release carbon dioxide back to the air. But within the oxygen-poor or anaerobic setting, like the deep sediment in mangrove area, microbes produce methane, a greenhouse gas that over 80 times more potent than carbon dioxide in the short term. Those that would begin as solar power carbon capture, depending on the environment, and as either long-term storage or greenhouse gas emission. So here we are, the planet bathed in sunlight with natural system that capture, move, store, and sometimes release carbon. And the carbon cycle driven by the sun's energy is both a gift and responsibility. Because, well, the sun offers unlimited energy, it's up to us to decide, do we store carbon like the ocean does, or do we release it faster than Earth can handle? So that is maybe the recap of the today discussion that will be more detailed, delivered by our distinguished speaker, Dr. Wei Yang. Thank you very much. And also Dr. Yaya Ulumuddin. Also, thank you very much for accepting our invitation to talk in this webinar series. Without ado, so we can move forward to the next agenda. And thank you very much to attending this webinar.
Thank you, Professor Aan, for your thoughtful words and for always supporting marine biogeochemistry research in Indonesia. As the Professor Aan says, we will maybe, dear old college, if you have any friends and then really interesting with about the biogeochemistry, you can invite them to this forum and this session, maybe. And now we will move to our first speaker of the day, Dr. Wei Yang from China. Dr. Yang is from Polar and Marine Research Institute at Jimei University, right, Doctor?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And his work explore the link between climate change and how the ocean naturally absorb carbon through the biological pump. He previously also completed his PhD degree in marine chemistry at Xiamen University of China.
Yes.
Dr. Yang will be presenting climate change and the ocean's biological pump today. And are you ready, Dr. Yang, for today?
Yes.
Okay.
I show my screen.
Yes, please. And Dr. Yang, please begin when you are ready.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes,
Okay.
can see it.
My name is Yang Wei from Jimei University in Xiamen. Today I will show my work in carbonate dynamics in coastal ecosystems of South China Sea. In the South China Sea, the controls of sustainability pump and the biological pump. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Firstly, I will introduce my background and study area in South China Sea, and I will tell three stories. Carbon dynamics on the northern South China Sea shelf, the shelf story. And the second is a carbonate system in oil and natural gas fields, maybe in the Beibou Gulf in South China Sea. And the third is the carbon dynamics in macroculture, marine culture area in Fujian province. Firstly, these two pictures give the atmosphere CO2 is continuously increasing since the first revolution, and associated with increased PCO2, the temperature is also increasing. So it's called the global warming. So, and this is a picture. This story is based on the global carbon budget. Most of the carbon emission from the factory, and the second is from the forest. This is a CO2 source, and the CO2 sink includes three major CO2 sinks. The most of them accumulated in the atmosphere, and second is absorbed in forest, and the ocean is always a CO2 sink, absorbing 26% of Earth project CO2. So the ocean is a CO2 sink. And these pictures showed the CO2 sinks, the latitude distribution of CO2 sink. So the CO2 sink distribute latitude distribution patterns. For example, in low latitude areas, it's a CO2 source, but in high latitude areas, it's a CO2 sink. So why they showed latitude distribution patterns? So maybe the celebrity pump or biological pump makes this difference. So this picture gave different controlling pumps in carbon system. Firstly, the acid CO2 dissolving into a surface through the acid CO2 flux, maybe the solubility pump. And secondly, the biological process, for example, the phytoplankton absorbed the DSA and to formate the biological organic matter and sinking into the deep sea, into the bottom. So this is called the biological pump. Also, there are some calcium carbonate pump in some coastal areas, for example, coral reef systems, and the physical pump, including the deep water formation, take the carbon from the surface ocean to the deep ocean. Maybe the upper valley release the CO2 from the sea to the atmosphere. So this all the carbon pump in oceans. My study area maybe mainly focus on the South China Sea. Firstly we divide the South China Sea in different regions. For example, the shelf, the domain A, and the northern basin, the domain B and the domain D, and the South China Sea basin, the domain C. Our results suggest the domain, they show spatial variability. For example, the domain A is a net CO2 sink annually, but they also showed different patterns in different seasons. For example, the winter season, the domain B and the domain C are CO2 sink, but they are CO2 source in spring and summer and autumn. So they show a significant spatial and temporal variability. Our recent work based on new data also follows this, consistent with this result. So what controls the CO2 source or CO2 sink in South China Sea? So maybe the mixing and the solubility pump and the biological pump, they are all controls the carbonate dynamics. For example, the South China Sea, on the northern South China Sea, the Pearl River plume on the shelf, this area is always silt sink, but the upper valley system is silt source. For example, in the okay. Oh, where's my
有问题吗？
where's my why? What is this? Okay, can you see me in my screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The water mass mixing, for example, the China Coast Current, this area is silt sink because this nutrient from the Changjiang River estuary makes this area a high production, and the temperature is very is low, so the coastal area is a silt sink in winter. So this is the water mass mixing controls the CO2 dynamics. And the second is the solubility pump. For example, in the South China Basin, this is the PCO2 dynamics mainly controlled by the temperature. The temperature effect, so it may be controlled by the solubility pump. And also, the biological pump controls PCO2 dynamics. For example, in winter, the chlorophyll A is very high on the northern shelf or the northern basin. So maybe this contributes to the silt sink in winter. So all these factors regulate the carbonate dynamics. My first work is on the northern South China Sea shelf. During my Ph.D. Firstly, we conduct some four cruises on the northern shelf. Firstly, in winter, we say the coastal area is influenced by the China coastal current from the Southeast China Sea and the plume water from coastal rivers, and also the crucial water from the Pacific Ocean was always observed on the northern shelf. In spring, the coastal area is also influenced by the coastal plume water. Winter is simple. And the summer, we observed the two coastal upper valley systems, the Pearl River, the Yuedong upper valley system, and the Qingdong upper valley system, and the Pearl River plume on the northeastern shelf. Okay, in fall, we observed the influence from the China coastal current and the Pearl River. So this is always the water masses dominates the carbon dynamics on the shelf. So we further divide the shelf into two domains: the northeastern shelf and the northwestern shelf. Their boundary is traced A of the Pearl River. So on the northwestern shelf, this area, the PCO2 seasonal dynamics of PCO2 almost controlled by the temperature effect. This result almost consistent with the results in CIS station of CIS observation state temperature observation states. So that means the PCO2 dynamics on the northwestern shelf are mainly controlled by the temperature effect, solubility pump. But on the northeastern shelf, this area was influenced by the China coastal current and the Pearl River plume. The high nutrients in these two mass sustain a high biological production. For example, during winter they could draw down the PCO2 by 18 mil ATM. So the coastal area on the northeastern shelf may be controlled by the biological pump. And the second story is we conduct in the on the South China Sea shelf, carbon capture, utilization, and storage. Maybe the CCUS is a storage for achieving the target of carbon neutral. But the risk of the leakage remain unknown. This
Halo, Dr. Yang. I think he's freezing now.
Bentar saya tanyain ya, Mbak.
Ya.
have to Halo.
Halo, Dr. Yang. Sepertinya koneksinya sedang trouble ya, Pak Faisal.
Iya, saya udah suruh dia. Nah, oke.
Oke.
Heeh.
Welcome back, Dr. Yang. Masih. Mohon maaf untuk para hadirin sekalian, mungkin sedang ada trouble ya. Kendala teknis dari sana, mohon ditunggu sebentar.
Oke, oke. You can continue. Just turn off your video, please. Halo?
so
Hmm.
Yang Wei, 你没有声音。
Is you already come back, Pak Faisal?
Yeah. Halo Yang Wei. Yang Wei, can you hear my voice? Yang Wei.
Hmm.
Bentar, saya telepon dulu ya, Mbak.
Oh,
Atau siap-siap nanti ke pembicara selanjutnya mungkin.
Oke, baik. Terima kasih, Pak Faisal. Baik, mari kita tunggu sebentar ya, Bapak Ibu sekalian semuanya, sampai mungkin koneksinya baik kembali.
Halo Yang Wei. Halo.
Halo, Dokter Yang. Can you try to speak because now I cannot hear your voice?
Halo Yang Wei. Halo.
Faisal?
Ya, oke, continue, continue.
OK OK 好
Oke, oke, oke. Oke.
OK sorry
Okay, please continue, Dr. Yang.
The second story is carbonate dynamics in oil and natural gas fields. So the the carbon capture utilization and storage, the CCUS. The first, the CO2 the capture and transport and storage in oil fields. So that sometimes, for example, also earthquake, there is the CO2 leakage to the subsea ocean. So we have to detect the CO2 leakage. So uh, so we conduct 4 cruises in the northern South China Shelf and the South China Bay, the Big Gulf. So it includes the PCO2 and wave measurements.
I'm sorry, Dr. Yang. Are you now in speaking?
Halo
Hello?
Yang Wei.
Uh,
Oke. Can you share your PPT slideshow?
Now we can see your PPT, but your voice not really good to hear.
Halo Yang Wei. Mbak Dayu katanya dia mau ituin jaringannya emang agak sedikit kurang bagus ya.
Oh gitu.
Heeh.
Kalau gitu
Jadi
mungkin ke yang kedua dulu kali ya, Pak.
boleh. Nanti saya kasih tahu ke ini ya.
Oke.
Oke, ke
Siap.
Kang Yaya.
Ya, baik. Terima kasih Pak Faisal untuk apa namanya informasinya. Baik, setelah tadi kita mendapatkan sedikit kondisi kurang baik ya dari Dokter Yangnya. Then we will move into the second speaker, uh, Dr. Yaya Ulumuddin.
Yeah,
I think he is joined now. Yes.
yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Yaya. Uh, Dr. Yaya is a marine researcher from BRIN who has spent years studying in greenhouse gases in the ocean, especially the methane, right, Dr. Yaya?
Correct.
Okay, and maybe I'll read a short introduction before we begin. Dr. Yaya is a marine ecologist based at the Research Center for Oceanography under the National Research and Innovation Agency, or BRIN, of Indonesia. He earned his Ph.D. from the Finnier School of Environment and Society at the Australian National University, where he focused on the marine ecological system and their interaction with environmental changes. I heard that he really expert in about mangrove, right? And then today he will present on the topic about the methane in the marine environment, source, and the sinks. Okay, Dr. Yaya, please go ahead. The screen is yours.
Okay, thank you. Allow me to share my screen first. Can you hear me, my voice?
Yes, clearly I can
Okay,
hear you.
good.
And the time is about 20 minutes, Dr. Yaya.
20
Please.
minutes. I hope it's less than that.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Yaya. First of all, I have to apologize that I cannot open my cam. There is some issue with a technical issue with my laptop. So it's better I turn it off or just leave it. That's okay. And then the second, I apologize if I have a connections issues as well. Because I'm in the field actually, in Karawang. But I hope there is no problem. So I can present my topic, my studies, and then we can discuss more after that. So, thank you for having me today. And then first of all, I want to start with something that maybe doesn't get talked about enough in climate change, and we call it methane, especially from the oceans. I think this has been part of my research journey since 2013 when I have a collaborators from China. He introduced me the research topic about methane from mangrove sediment. And then in 2015, I had an opportunity to study a PhD study in Australia, looking at methane in mangrove sediment more deeper. And then now I'm still working on it, trying to see the methane potential from seagrass and other coastal ecosystems like shallow waters. So we can start from these questions. Why should we care about methane in marine systems? So we always hear about CO2 in the discussions of climate change, but methane is much more powerful in the short term, actually. Some people say 80 times stronger over 20 years. They can trap more heat 80 times than CO2. or some people say 25 if the time frame is 100 years. So if we care about global warming, so we also need to understand where methane come from, including the ocean. So there are three main types of methane based on how it's formed in the oceans. First, we call it thermogenic methane, and that's come from deep underground, usually tied to fossil fuels. You can find it if there is a cracking in the subsurface because of tectonic forces or because of drilling for oil and gas. And the second during burning, like with fires or biomass, which is actually very limited in marine environment, I guess. And then the third, we call it biogenic biogenic methane. It's made by microbes, especially in place without oxygens or low oxygens. So in coastal ecosystems, biogenic methane is the main type. Yeah, of course, in some area we can find the thermogenic methane as well, but mostly biogenic methane. It's produced in areas like mangrove and seagrass beds, where we can find oxygen is very low and organic matter is high. In fact, models show that a big portions of global biogenic methane come from coastal zones, like the pictures in the right on the right. You can see along the coastal area around the world, the methane fluxes is considerably high. So that's because of the activity of microbial organisms on the sediments. So if we look into more detail to understand the methane journey from microbial processes into the atmosphere, actually, methane productions is occurring in the anaerobic sediments, and there is microbes, we call it methanogens, that can produce methane. But if oxygen shows up, other microbes, we call it methanotropes, can eat the methane before it escapes to the atmosphere. So actually the process is not linear. It's really complex. And the process in microbial as well, in the microbial level as well, is very localities, like, and also there are many drivers. For example, we can say in biochemical factors, there's biotic factors, anthropogenic factors, climatic factors, hydrological, geomorphological, and physical chemicals. All of these, of course, affect to the process in microbial level. And also there is a changes between anoxic to oxic conditions. And there is a interface between sediment and water, which is can affect also the productions and consumption. And when it goes up to the transport, once the methane produced, it can be diffusive flux pathways or evolutions or plant mediated maybe. But now we only have done, or many studies have done to scrutinize the transport pathways through diffusive flux. And because of this, we can find the data is very variable across space and time. For examples, on the right, there is a graph showing that the data from 1 year's measurements every month in different sites, in different depth, we can see the variability, the high variability of the methane. In this case, actually, I measure dissolved methane in the pore water, not as methane as a gas. So let's going deeper to the more detailed process in microbial level. So actually, when we talk about methanogenesis, actually it is the last process of organic material degradations, starting from the biggest material, and then the biggest it's cutting up into smalls, and cutting up and then degrade into the big compounds, and then bacteria digest all this organic material through, for example, nitrifications or other process until methanogenesis is the last process in the organic material degradations or decompositions. But there is a if the conditions is anoxic. But if the conditions is oxic, methanogenesis mostly cannot work well. Why? That's because there is competitions between methanogenesis and sulfate reductions bacteria, because they use same substrate. So in the past, there is like belief that methane only produced in a freshwater system, or in freshwater system, where sulfate, where we can find less sulfate in the freshwater system. But now, studies found that even in marine systems, there are a group of methanogens that can survive and can compete with sulfate reducing bacteria. Sorry, can I continue? Some interruption.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay, I can continue. And also in marine system, methanogens group can exist because they can compete with sulfate reducing bacteria, and also the abundance of special organic material that produced from marine organisms like algae and fish. So even in salty environments, methane can still form just by the different microbial group. We call it bacteriotropic methanogens. So let's take a closer look at the coastal ecosystems, which we know they are full of organic material and often have a low oxygen in the sediments. And especially if these area are connected to rivers, there is even more input from erosion, farming, and other human activities. Sometimes rivers even bring methane that was already produced upstream and draw down into the mangrove sediment, mangrove area, and seagrass area, and also shallow water in the coastal area. So that's why mangrove, seagrass beds, and shallow estuaries or coastal shallow water may be a hotspots for methane. So I started looking into methane from mangroves, especially in 2013, and become more focused, as I said before, during my PhD degree in 2015. I found this research topic was increasing substantially up until now. I guess I still continue to monitor the increase of number of publications in this kind of topic. And also in the South Mars, it's not only in mangrove, but I don't know in seagrass. But I can find from the study that this is still understudied, especially in the discussions of climate change. So let's have a look more closer to the mangrove ecosystems. In general, we can say from the review paper and also my studies, I found the mangrove is the net source, even though it is highly variable. From the study Al-Hajj and Floor 2019, we found methane emissions. It's about 280 micromole per meter square per day. But the range is also very variable, like from -67 to around 73,000 micromole per meter square per day. Then we found that the high methane emissions, especially found in the polluted area. So if we talk about methane, especially in mangrove, we think about like the movement or the actions for mangrove rehabilitations and restorations in terms of climate change mitigations or in terms of blue carbon trading. But we have to see also the methane potential. My study, I found that methane maybe methane increase when mangrove still young in the early successions, and then it goes up and then goes down when it matures. And my study aligned with Carnell et al. As well. They found the same conclusions about the methane dynamics in mangrove rehabilitations. So this information is really important when we talk about mangrove restorations, especially for carbon sequestrations. We have to think about methane emissions as offset. So maybe what we measure now maybe not as much because of methane emissions. Now we talk about seagrass. If we compare to mangrove, Al-Hajj review global data and found mangrove and salt mass and seagrass is the emissions is very small, but still we can see the contributions at least 65 micromole per meter square per day. And some researcher estimate about 30% to the global marine methane budget. And then I now still ongoing studies on seagrass in seagrass ecosystems, trying to measure 24-hour measurement in seagrass bed in Belitung. I found really interesting data here. As you can see, maybe there is a like effect of tidal, when tidal goes down, the methane also goes down, come back to the concentrations like in the open sea. It's around 2000 ppb. And then in the morning we found the temperatures is going up. So also there is a response to the methane concentrations in the water column around seagrass is also going up, increasing. But still, we have to scrutinize more, digging more data to have a solid conclusions from our measurements. And the third, my students and I also looking at the methane dynamics in Jakarta Bay as a representative for a shallow waters environment with high river input. And we found that there is a episodic hotspots, there is episodic inputs in July, but we cannot find methane in the other months of measurements. And it is very clearly that methane influenced by river input. And this finding also in line with many other research and studies in the same systems, like for example here in Russia in temperate environment, they found the river input is really matters for methane, dissolved methane in the shallow waters in the area. So we tried to look at more quantitatively. We found, yes, it confirmed that the distance to the river mouth, it confirmed that methane influenced by river input, and also dissolved oxygen as the main factors that control methane, dissolved methane in the shallow water, coastal shallow waters. Now I'm still continuing to study on this topic. We try to scrutinize, to explore some methodologies, especially for measuring the plant-mediated transport through using this kind of chamber, putting on the mangrove stems, and also trying to measuring dissolved methane continuously from the water. We do not need to samples the water and then extract the gas samples, and just set up this apparatus, and then we can monitor the change of methane every time. And also I'm looking at the data from not only seagrass, but also from the turbid water that usually we have a problem with the apparatus, the available apparatus. So from these systems, I can find that there is a problem with the clogs, or the systems is still good, even though we can put these apparatus until maybe weeks or months, but depends on the availability of electricity. So Maybe this is the last slide, take-home message from my study so far. First, we can say marine ecosystems are significant, but overlooked for methane sources. We have to see mangrove seagrass and coastal shallow water hotspots in marine systems for methane. And mangroves, yes, are net source. Seagrass still contribute methane, but still meaningful. And also the shallow coastal zone, we have to consider the river inputs, especially in the river where the upstreams more developed and many anthropogenic activities, and then erosions adding some organic material to the rivers and nutrients that can increase the organic matter in the coastal area. And then the site-specific measurements are critical. So in this step, we have to add some more data from many type of environment with different environmental settings. So we can find very clear pictures of the methane dynamic in this kind of systems. So for the last talk, I would say these coastal ecosystems are not just carbon sinks now. They also release methane. So we need to see both sides if we want to manage them properly, especially if we want to include mangrove or seagrass into mitigations actions or into. That's what I can share today. Thank you very much. My time's enough, I guess, or more. Come back to Dayu. Thank you very much
Okay,
for listening.
thank you, Dr. Yaya, for your presentation. And it is, for me, especially very insightful and informative presentation. Definitely give us, or maybe just me, a lot of things about it, especially from the last slides about the insight about that the ecosystem, not just about the carbon sinks, but in fact, it is also the source of the methane itself as one of the greenhouse gases also. Besides the CO2. Okay, thank you, Dr. Yaya, for your presentation. But dear all college and participant, if you are already have any questions or comment, please hold on or just type in the chat. We will have a discussion and Q&A session right after our next speaker, Dr. Wei Yang, will be continue the presentation. Is it Dr. Yang already come back
Okay.
here?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I change another compute. Can you show my screen?
Yes, we can see it now. Please.
Okay. I continue this slide. So we developed this shelf into two subregions, the northwestern shelf and northeastern shelf. The northwestern shelf, the PCO2 may be controlled by the temperature factor. This same the salinity pump. And the second, on the northeastern shelf, the shelf is influenced by the China coast current and the pure plume, they are both nutrients, high nutrients in close current and pure plume sustain high biological production. So this area is a pseudo sink, and the biological draw down the PCO2 by 18 micro ATM. And the second storage is carbon capture and utilization and storage in South China Sea. We know this CCUS is a strategy for achieving the target of carbon neutrality, but the risk of CO2 leakage remain unknown. For example, this picture, the CO2 is captured and then transport and then storage in the oil fields or gas fields. But sometimes, for example, earthquake maybe cause the CO2 emissions and leakage to the seawater and cause some adverse ecological risks. For example, ocean acidification. So we have to develop some methods to detect the CO2 leakage. So we conduct some cruises on the northern shelf, northwestern South China Sea shelf. For example, the Wenchang and Enping oil field, and in gas fields in the Beibu Gulf, the Dongfang and the Nedong Gulf, and the measurements, for example, the bottle DSA, TA, and the PCO2 measurements. So, and subsequently, we observed in Wenchang oil field, the PCO2 is almost controlled by the temperature effector, and the temperature effector, the salinity pump dominates the PCO2 seasonal. For example, from the fall to summer to fall, the temperature effector dominates the PCO2 variability, seasonal variability. And in Enping oil field, for example, especially in the plume center, the now DSA, and this in the plume center, the biological consumption, the biological drawdown consumption, the DSA makes this area is a CO2 sink. But in some stations, they are always observed the calcium perspiration. So the biological the carbon system in the plume center are mainly controlled by the biological pump and the carbonate pump, and this dominates the PCO2 spatial variability, especially in the plume water. And we also conduct some analysis in the Nedong and Dongfang gas fields. This in Dongfang gas fields, we observed some DSA consumption in surface water, but the DSA in bottom water is really high. So there's a DSA addition or increase in subsurface water. So we always trace the origin of the DSA using the carbon-13 isotopes. So we observed we believe the respiration of organic matter sinking from the surface. So the surface high biological production in surface ocean and generate some organic matter, and the sinking of organic matter into the bottom water and the respiration of this organic matter and release the CO2. So this ecosystem or this coastal margin system are always controlled by the biological pump. This is a biological pump. And we subsequently built or construct a multi-method online monitoring system to detect the CO2 leakage in CCUS project. For example, we have two floating buoy observation systems in South China Sea, and we have detect the PCO2 and the pH if CO2 leakage observed. So the PCO2 and the pH will reflect the CO2 leakage. And another is a subsurface monitoring observation system. We have these two systems. And we also equip it with PCO2 sensors and pH sensors. The third story is carbon dynamics in macroalgae marine culture. The seaweed cultivation is an effective approach to enhance the nearshore carbon sinks. For example, the seaweed or macroalgae growth within the growth, they will generate some organic matter, and the organic matter sinking to the bottom and buried in the sediment, or some organic POM will export to the open ocean. So there are this macroalgae marine culture is also considered the blue carbon ecosystem. China has the largest cultivation area and have the largest production of macroalgae over the world. For example, the most production is in Asia, area, and China has the largest production. Fujian province always has a larger macroalgae production rate. We conduct our analysis in Sansa Bay. Here in Fujian province, this Sansa Bay have the largest cultivation area in Fujian and have the largest production of kelp in Fujian. So this area was physically influenced by the China Coast Current in winter and the Eastern China Sea surface water in summer. And we have this paper. We recently published this paper. This paper report 3 courses in winter and in fall and in spring. We observe these 2 figures show the TA distribution of TA and the DSA, and this dashed line is a background mixing situation. But we observed DSA and TA addition or increase in the seawater. This DSA and TA may be controlled by the long-term accumulation from the macroculture activities. So we further analysis the DSA and the TA dynamics mediated by different macroalgae activities. So this, for example, this DSA and TA from the natural background, but the seaweed cultivation will decrease the DSA, and the shellfish farming will decrease the TA, but the fish farming will significantly increase the DSA. So the DSA release from the fish farming exceed the consumed during the seaweed cultivation. And this slide shows the different the DSA accumulation in semi-enclosed bays. So the carbon from the fish farming was accumulate in the bay water, but in the open ocean, in the open ecosystems, the DSA or POC can export to the marginal sea. So they are different. Here in semi-enclosed bays, the natural seaweed and shellfish maybe draw down some PCO2. This is the biological pump, but the DSA or the carbon released from the fish farming and they increase the PCO2 from making this area from a CO2 sink to a CO2 source. So we observe a strong CO2 source in Sansa Bay. We also observed the PCO2 decrease. Maybe acidification driven by the fish farming. So this figure shows the PCO2 dynamics controlled by the salinity pump and the biological pump in different seasons. For example, in spring, the short-term marine culture activities will increase the PCO2 significantly, but the biological pump maybe sometime draw down the PCO2. And in fall, the temperature, the PCO2 is controlled by the temperature factor and the mixing process. But in winter, the PCO2 is controlled by the temperature and also the mixing. So, okay, I stop here. I just share some 3 stories. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Yang, for the
Bye.
engaging and relevant talk. It's fascinating to hear about the ocean's role in the climate system from a global perspective. All right. And now it's time for our Q&A session. Feel free to send your question in the chat box or raise your hand if you'd like to ask directly. We'd love to hear from you.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, wait, maybe. The first one comes from the chat box. I will read it. I think this is from IS3 Yulianti, Ibu IS3 Yulianti, and this question for Dr. Yaya first, maybe. Can we keep Dr. Yaya? Are you ready for?
Yes, I'm here.
Right. Can we capture and utilize the gas of methane for source of energy? And is it potential the methane from coastal in Indonesia are to be a new source of energy? Thank you. Maybe I think just
So just answer now
yeah,
or
yeah, just answer.
okay, thank you. Thank you for the questions and the answers. I can say yes or no. That's the simple answer, but maybe let me explain more. If you ask, can we capture? Yes, we can. We can capture the gas. But when you ask, can we utilize the gas for source of energy? Maybe I can say no, we can't. And also, if we can capture and utilize the gas or the methane from mangrove now, I a bit worry actually. Why? Because methane is really flammable. So you can imagine if you can find the flammable concentrations of methane in our coastal area, wildfire will be everywhere. So in this case, we can, because the concentrations is too low. It's not flammable at the moment. The flammable concentrations of methane is more than 50%. But in our case, it's only around ppb or ppm at most. Yeah, it's not big actually. It's not much, but that's enough for reducing carbon potential for the mangrove ecosystems. But if there is a technology which can not only capture but also concentrate the low concentrations of gas, maybe we can do that. So the challenge is how to create that kind of technology. In my opinion, that will need some more energy to concentrate the methane gas in low concentrations, which is maybe still useless at that time, at this time. But maybe if there is a technology with low energy input for this purposes, maybe we could. Yeah, That's my answer, my long answer. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Yaya. Maybe is it enough for Ibu Is?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Then the second questions still come from Ibu Is for the Dr. Wei Yang. The first one, in between solubility pump and biological pump, which is more effective to absorb CO2 to prevent the decreasing of pH? And then the second one, could the solubility pump and biological pump control the other biogeochemistry process, especially in the coastal area? Maybe Dr. Yang, please answer the question.
I think I think the biological pump is more effective in coastal area. For example, um, the seasonal DSC change DSC variability due to the growth of algae maybe 100 micromole. So it's very high in the salinity pump. But in open oceans, because in open oceans in open oceans the biological pump is very low. So I think in open oceans it may be more effective for the salinity pump, but in coastal oceans biological pump may be more important. Yeah.
Okay.
And the second, I don't know you say the other biological process means what this means? Hello.
Yes, hello.
I don't know. I don't understand. The second question is other biochemical process means, but maybe the salinity pump and the biological pump maybe controls the carbonate system, but the carbonate system there are so many parameters. For example, pH, ohmic, and DSATA and flux. So maybe oxygen is also related to the pumps. So I think they also related to the control the other process. For example, the ocean acidification and hypoxia in coastal area. I think it's related to controlled. Yes.
All right. Ibu Is, do you want to clear your question, maybe the second question, if the
Thank you, Jimei. I just want to ask the soluble pump and biological pump to control the other biodiversity problem, especially because I believe the other biodiversity is like or the other. Is that is impact or could control these two parts?
I'm sorry, Ibu Is, but
Oh, okay.
okay. Can you hear clearly, Dr. Yang? Because I can't hear clearly.
Sorry, I can't hear.
Okay. I'm sorry, Ibu Is.
Okay.
Maybe the answer from Dr. Yang, it's already answer your question, Ibu Is.
But I think for example, the cycles of heavy metals or geochemical cycles of a nutrient always relate to the biological saline pump and the biological pump, but the connection is complex, so we have to do a lot of work to give this result.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Thank you, Dr. Yang, for
Thank
the.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Yang. Thank you, Budaya.
Okay, thank you. Is there any question from other participant? Or maybe you can raise your hand if you want to ask directly. Please. Still, oh yeah, okay. This one from Bapak Muhammad Sumiran. I will read the question to Dr. Yaya. First, if methane in the pure water, maybe, in the pure water sediment is high, will it result in high methane emissions in the surface sediment? And then the second one, from the presentation you mentioned that the mature mangrove has less methane emissions. Is it right? Correct me if I'm wrong. If correct, then why is that happened? Because the mature mangrove might have high organic matter content in sediment. Okay, please, Dr. Yaya.
Okay, thank you. That's a good question. So I share again my presentation so I can explain more clearly. Wait for a moment. Back to this slide. So for the first questions you asked, if we have a pore water, high methane in the pore water of mangrove, could it affect or could it make the methane flux or emissions high as well? The answer is not certain, because this, you can see the transport pathways. There is a variability because of diurnal, seasonals, and specific site-specific process, and also the change between oxic and anoxic processes. For example, in some area, because of there is the inundations is really really matters to change the oxic and anoxic layers. That will change the process of methane, methanotropes or methanogenesis in the sediments. So, for example, in the deep of sediment, the methane is really high, but in the surface, between sediments and atmosphere, there is a thin layers of oxic layers conditions, oxic layers. The methane cannot pass through that layers. The methane can be eaten by the methanotropes in the oxic layers. But if there is a pass, if the methane can pass through the plant in the area, the gas no need to pass the oxic layers, so it will be higher. The flux will be higher because there is no methanotropes. Okay, can you understand? So it's very variable. So in my explanations, actually, we found the relationship between pore water and flux methane in positive way. So maybe different case, different result. So that's the first questions. And the second questions is about I forgot. I have to read. Where is it? The second questions, correct. Okay, the mature. Yeah. Yes, you are correct. In the mature mangrove habitat, there are rich of organic material, but the oxygen also abundance because of the root system can be like a hole for the gas, oxygen gas can go in through the deep of sediment. And also there must be much more organisms that can we call it in scientific term bioturbate ngacak-ngacak sediment. So it can facilitate the oxygen can go through the deep of sediment. So the key is oxygen. Yeah. So that's why even though in the deep methane is produced abundantly, but if oxygens exists, methane is very easily to be eaten by the microbe, methanotropes, microbes. Maybe that's much questions. And my answer. Hope it answers your questions. Thank you. Back to Dayu.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Yaya. Is it enough for the answer? Maybe from... Okay. Thank you. Dr. Yaya, maybe I want to continue the question from me, Mr. Is it no? Muhammad Sumiran? Yes. If he say you talk about the mature or adult mangroves, and it is have a lot of more organic potential to give some more methane emission after they dead after they dead. Maybe that's the problem, right? Maybe after they the mangrove dead, it is the more problem uh, correlated to the many things organic matters in there, or just it can be solved by the what is it, the microbiomes in there.
Yeah. Okay, you are correct. And there is a research study in northern territory of Australia. Mangrove experience dieback. So all the mangrove trees die because there is a changes in hydrological systems over there. And then researchers from Australia measures the methane from that environment, and they found that huge methane goes up to the atmosphere because of the situations in the sediments becomes more anoxic, and many organic matter in the sediments. So that's why methane produced and released to the atmosphere considerably from the site. So that's we have to think when we cut mangroves ecosystems, or we change the hydrology of mangrove ecosystems and make the plants die. A lot of carbon will be released to the atmosphere, not only in as a CO2, but also CH4. Yeah, that's the strong point. Actually, we have to argue to the policymakers when we think about CO2 and CH4 in blue carbon ecosystems. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Yaya, for the answer. And then, is there any question more? I think the time is up, maybe, yeah. So I think this is the last question. Thank you for everyone who asked question, and to both of you, our speakers, for the thoughtful response and also the insightful presentation. It's been a really enriching this session. And then, oh ya, Bapak Ibu supaya jangan lupa mengisi form kehadirannya. Mangga silahkan dicek di kolom chat ya, gitu. And then, as we wrap up, I'd like to say big thank you again for Dr. Yaya Ihya Ulumuddin and also Dr. Wei Yang for sharing their time and expertise with us today. Also, thank you to Prof. Aan for opening today's session, and of course, to all of you for your joining and staying engaged. Just a reminder, today's webinar is streamed live on YouTube, and recording will remain available in YouTube. So if you are missing some session, maybe you can come back to YouTube and watch it again. If you'd like a certificate, you can also request it through our website. And then, is there anything from the committee? If there is some announcement for today. Or maybe about the post in the chat from Profesor Aan. IMBF sedang cari talenta kreatif buat Anda yang punya ide brilian dan suka eksplorasi digital. Mungkin ini saatnya bisa menjadi voluntary gitu ya, menjadi tim admin dan tim kreatif untuk bisa menghasilkan beberapa konten ya, visual dan yang juga bisa diupload di sosial media. Mungkin yang punya kreativitas tinggi, inovatif, dan familiar dengan desain grafis ataupun videografi gitu ya, bisa mendaftar, kirim CV dan portofolionya ke email sebelum 15 Juni 2025. Emailnya Indonesia Marine Biogeochemistry@gmail.com. Ya. Oke, maybe that's all, right, Pak Faisal? Is there any other announcement?
Tidak, Mbak.
Okay. All right, that's all for me. Stay curious, stay connected, and see you at the next IMBF event. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a wonderful.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next sessions.